Super, super Charles, super Charles, super Aaron Charles.
For to top it! Oh! Doncaster Rovers have done it!
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHALL, your Doncaster Rovers fan, and welcome to this match review. Now, of course, we did suffer a 2-0 defeat to Wycombe Wanderers. I think since 24 hours have been and gone, nice to calm down, look a bit more inside the game, and all that jazz. So before we get started, guys, make sure you do like the video if you loved it. Comment down below your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe if you're new around here. Click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. And for now, guys, let's have a look at what went on. So, I mean, it's an interesting one. I mean, obviously it's another defeat, which is, you know, confirms even more from what I said last week that we are going down to League 2. We are playing League 2 football next season. It reaffirms my point that team talks have to be looked into, because how can you... From the sounds of it, it sounds like those players were told, don't concede again in the second half. Rather than attack and build on a 1-0 lead, try and not concede another goal. Which links to what was said in previous months. I believe I said it on a video. And what was said in the, I think it was said in the Free Press, I'm not too sure. But I know Gareth came out and said this a few months back. He wants to develop a clean sheet, nick a lead mentality kind of thing. I think that's what he said, like a clean sheet mentality. If a clean sheet mentality means sit back, don't concede another goal and play sideways football for a whole half in the second half, if I were the manager, I'd be telling them, go for it. Use one and go for two. Go for, you know, don't go for, you know, Wycombe's 2-3-4. Turn their 1-0 into your fuel to keep going forward. Use their 1-0 to keep you guys going to the front foot. You know, then you have more of a confidence to put the ball in the back of the net with the 1-1, the 2-1, 3-1. You know, the possibilities around this if you get your team to attack, but it only seemed like it was 1-0 at half-time to Wycombe. We sat in that dressing room and it sounded like, manager said, don't concede another goal, just sit back, sit on a 1-0 and try and nip one on the break. Is that the Donny way? I don't care if we're in a relegation, but we're pretty much already down anyway. If Gareth McSheffrey's watching this, we're pretty much relegated anyway. So use the rest of this season to prove you've got what it takes by playing better football. And if you can't play better football, then I'm sorry, but you're not the man for the job. It's as simple as that. And I said before, he wasn't my first choice because he had no experience. The ball went for him for longevity. They wanted a younger manager who would learn on the job, would learn with the club. But in a relegation situation, that wasn't what we were after. We needed someone who could get us out of this situation, who knows what to do to get out of this situation. But we went for longevity. We were focusing on the future when we maybe should have also focused on the here and now as well as the future. You know, don't think so far ahead. Just keep looking to the here and now as well as the future. But I don't even know if Gareth McSheffrey is the future either. You know, I mean, whether Gary and Frank's here next season or not is anyone's guess. But if they don't feel any pressure from the board, that says to me they're staying. But at the same time, can they really stay as manager and assistant manager beyond this season? I would like to see Frank stay in the first team as like a coach or assistant manager to the next manager next season. But at the same time, it's sort of like, well, if Gary goes, is Frank going to go? It's like a two-way thing. Look at Richie Wellens when he was sacked. Noel went as well, despite, you know, early talks or rumours of talks that he was trying to stay on and become a coach or try and stay on with the club. But eventually he went, and he's now, you know, running on the 23s manager. So if Gary goes, I think Frank's going to go. And they're probably going to go and coach elsewhere. Whether it's lower down, whether it's an under-23s team at a higher club, I don't know. But if Gary's going to go, I think Frank will go. I think both of them will go. And That's what I mean. That's the situation. It'll be either Gary and Frank as manager and assistant manager next season, or they're both going to go and going to bring in a whole new team. But I said before, if we're bringing in a whole new team, it's got to be as part of a massive rebuild behind the scenes. Now, whether Gary McSheffrey and Frank Sinclair are part of that rebuild starting next season, I don't know. I really don't know. But Gary said there's rebuilding going on behind the scenes. I'm hoping it's a director of football or some kind of sporting director. I'm hoping that's the case. And I think that's what a lot of fans, speaking to loads of fans, I think that's what they're hoping as well. They're hoping for a sporting director. I'm hoping for a sporting director. We're all hoping for a sporting director in the summer. Someone who can group the football staff together, grab them by the balls and take them forward. Take the football side of the club forward and let Baldwin, Blunt and Bramall deal with the business side of things. Bring more football decisions to a sporting director rather than other members of the club. Because it definitely feels like other members of the club have got more football decisions. It definitely feels like that anyway. Well, that's true or not, I'm not too sure, but it definitely feels like that. You know, I'm not one of these that's going to say sell up and get out, because let's be real, there's no one going to buy us, so there's no point saying, well, you can say it if you want to, it's your opinion, but for me personally, I'm not going to bother saying it. My best hope for change is a new football structure, which includes a sporting director, better scouting network, more staff for the academy, for the first team, full-time staff as well, not part-time contracts anymore. You know, if Steve Eyre wants to stay, give him a full-time contract next season. If he wants to go, let him go. So yeah, this whole football structure needs to change this summer, and it's got to start this summer and go forward. Otherwise, we're going to go down. Paul Mayfield said it in the vlog, in the matchday fan cam after the vlog. If we might go further down if we're not careful. So, you know, it's one of those things. So yeah, the manager situation's an interesting one. Like I said, I'm starting to really doubt whether Gareth can do the job next season. Because if that's the only football he can play, then I really do doubt what we're going to do next season. I feel like some of those players need to go. I think the first half, I mean, speaking about the game here, and it links to my point, the first half, we played with a lot more front foot. Apart from that 10-15 minute spell after Wycombe's goal in that half, we were the better team. You know, after the 15-minute spell, we grew back into it, had a little more chances, and came forward a lot more. Second half, like I said, sat back, didn't want to conceded another, and we had a last 5 minute surge, and that's it for the second half. You know, that was basically it. If there's any players that don't want to be here, go. Simple as that, go. I want a squad next season, and I know it sucks that we're probably going to have to rebuild another new squad, another new set of players for like the fourth or fifth year in a row. It feels like we had the McCann year with the squad, then we had Darren Moore's first squad, then we ripped a few players out and brought in some more, including a load of loanees. Then Richie Wellens ripped it up. So yeah, this is basically the fourth or fifth rebuild in the last 4 or 5 years, which is embarrassing. Let's be brutally honest here, it's embarrassing. This one's got to be the right one, though. This one's got to be the right one. It can't just be 5, 6, 7 loanees. It's got to be 2, 3, maybe even 4 maximum. Rest of it, permanent. A mixture of experience, a mixture of under 23s, a mixture of the under 18s that's going to, you know, be a part of that academy setup and come into that academy from other clubs and help the quality of the academy improve as well, because there are some good players in there, just needs that little extra quality, and we'll be a great academy. You know, we'll be an even greater academy. You know, we're a good academy anyway, we need to be an even greater one, and you know, we're not usually a club sometimes that develops our own players. There's been the odd load over the decades that have come through and done really, really well. But most of them have done well at other clubs, so we've not really been one developing our own players. So we're usually a buying or selling, well, not buying by fees, but we're usually a selling club. So, you know, bring some people in from other academies, from, you know, different places. Bring them into the academy, get them developed, then get them into a pathway, get them into a position where they can bring that pathway into the senior team. Because the pathway between the senior team and the academy, Yes, we had a load of injuries when Wells was in charge, but I felt like there was a little bit of a pathway with the academy, with Kalea getting involved, we had Ethan Harrison getting involved in the cup. We had a few people getting involved, even if it was just on the bench, they were getting involved. That pathway sort of not quickly died, but sort of slowly but surely died over the last few months, because obviously we've had more players back, we've had more squad depth. But it feels like the academy, yes, they've been left to do their own job, which is great, leave them to do their own job. But the players that aren't playing in academy matches, that need game time, you know, if there's an opportunity, and there's players in that senior squad that just aren't good enough, drop them, bring a couple of kids through. If Kalea's not playing in an academy match, and he wants to play some football, drop Dadu, drop Awula, and get Kalea on that squad. Same with the likes of Ethan Harrison. You know what? If Joe Dadu, you know, for example, Joe Dadu or Johnny Hawula, I use those two as examples because those two, in my opinion, are the worst players in the squad at the moment. Dadu and Hawula. And I'm sorry for naming and shaming, but this time I need to be ruthless. I don't care what everyone thinks. I need to be ruthless because I'm a fan and I want what's best for my football club. Dadu and Hawula, worst two players in the squad right now. Drop Dadu and Hawula, and if Kalea... And let's take Alex Wolny, for example. Under-18 striker from Poland. Looks a decent talent when I watched him against Rotherham under-18s. Get Wolny in and get Kalea on the bench. Get Wolny and Kalea on the bench for Dadu and Hawula. You know, show Dadu and Hawula, senior professionals, that just because there's not a lot of people in your position left to pick, doesn't mean your place in the squad, in the starting 11 or the bench is safe. Even the bench included. Even your position on the bench might not be safe. Show them. Show some balls. But and also we've got nothing else to lose. So I would like to see a couple of kids get some minutes. Start building that pathway with the academy again. But yeah, the first half, like I said, we were the better team apart from that 15 minutes after Wycombe's goal. Grew back into it a little bit. Second half, like I said, came out like we wanted to sit back and nick one. That's not going to work against the Wycombe team that are just going to put pressure. Best bit of the second half was probably Akin Fenwell coming on and us giving him a round of applause, and also giving the minutes of applause for Richard Bailey. That was the best parts of the second half. When the Rovers fans started chanting "One Richard Bailey," that was just, you know, a moment. That's a moment I'll personally never forget. For those of you who are not Rovers fans who don't know who Richard Bailey is, he is Doncaster Rovers. He's someone who's worked at the club. He's been a fan of the club, a wonderful, wonderful guy. And he sadly passed away recently. And, you know, my thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends. You know, we'll all miss you, Richard. We really will miss you. You know, he followed me on Twitter. You know, I spoke to him before a couple of times, a nice guy. And, you know, he's one of the, you know, he was only a couple of weeks ago in Blackpool. He was only there a couple of weeks ago for the Fleetwood match. And, you know, we'll miss him. We really will miss him. And, you know, it was great of Wycombe to get involved with the tributes as well. You know, fair play to Wycombe. I clap my hands to you. Yeah, you know, that's a moment. That's a special moment from a poor result. And like I said, Akin Fenwell coming on as well for his final game against us. You know, former Rovers player. You know, he's someone who gave his all in the spell that he was here. You know, absolute tank. You know how much of a tank Akin Fenwell is. Yeah, he didn't score, thankfully, but because that would have rubbed salt in the wounds. But yeah, Akin Fenwell was just a goat, greatest of all time, one of the greatest strikers in lower league football. You know, and I wish the best of luck to Wycombe as well. You know, they're on that promotion push, so I wish the best of luck to them. So yeah, in terms of the players that played in that game, I mean, it was said in the free press afterwards, we went with a 4-1-4-1 system. I could certainly see that from the way we set up. I think, you know what, the defence, it's not that they were bad. I think they were all right. It was just the one mistake for the goals, like the one mistake and then the other mistake for the goals, and like a couple of hickey moments here and there. But overall, they were okay. They weren't the best, but they were okay. Like, Rochelle Williams still did all right. Callum Noyle sort of stood back a bit and then started bombing forward at some point in the first half. You know, so he still offered a little bit of something. Again, John Bostock makes those forward passes. If you're going to play John Bostock, my best advice to Gary McSheffrey, I'm not saying he did this in this match, but my best advice to Gary McSheffrey to use John Bostock, never play John Bostock deep in midfield. I'm not saying he did this in this match. I'm not saying that at all. This is just general advice with Bostock. Don't play him deep in the midfield. Play him more advanced, because if you play him more advanced, those forward passes will get into the final third a lot better from a more advanced position than a deeper position. Yes, the deep position has its advantages, but in my opinion, I think Bostock playing more advanced, those passes will go into the final third a lot quicker, and those setups will go into the final third a lot quicker. That's another thing, though, the final third. Rio, a couple of special moments to get into positions, but again, just still couldn't finish. Couple of chances going inches wide. Yeah, it was just a case of we couldn't score those chances, and then, like I said, the second half setback, barely did anything until the last 5 minutes. But that late surge, Doncaster Rovers is not a last 5 minute surge club. We're not that club at all. You know, we've never been that. Well, not since recently anyway. But for as far as I know, we're not that kind of philosophy. Our philosophy is not last 5 minutes surge, rest of the time sit back. That's not our philosophy. Our best football was the carpet football, the 1-2s, the little movements here and there. And I saw more ground movements in the first half. Second half, I saw a lot more hoofball. And again, didn't work. You could tell it doesn't work. So my advice for who's building, whether it's Gary McSheffrey or whoever's the manager next season, building a squad, build it to the carpet football philosophy. The 1-2s, the nice football to watch, the attractive football. Stuff that's going to make us go, wow, are we watching Donny or Barcelona here, or Arsenal, or Liverpool, or Man City, or one of these big clubs? Are we watching this, or are we watching Doncaster Rovers? You know, back then when we were playing that kind of football, we were being referenced to Arsenal and Barcelona, who by then were two of the biggest clubs in the world, and they still are. Barcelona's got its financial problems. You know my thoughts on Stan Kroenke at Arsenal, not fit for purpose. But for me, they're still two of the biggest clubs in the world. We were being referenced to them back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I don't mean 3, 4, 5 decades ago. We're only talking 10 plus years ago. We're only talking 10 plus years. So it is reachable to get back to that kind of football again. All you need is the right manager and the right players to play that style of football. Not hard, is it? And it's up to the board, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if we bring in a sporting director to refresh the football structure, it's up to those people to bring in the right manager, whether it's Gary McSheffrey or someone else next season, to play that kind of football. So finally then, what do we need to do against Crewe next week? Just don't lose, because I think, like Luke said, it's a must-win for the maths, not for the reality. Not for the reality, because the reality is we're pretty much going down anyway. You know, if we're losing, I might just, you know, if I'm getting bored or whatever, I might just stand up and start singing, if you're going down, stand up, and try and get the whole ground standing up. You know the whole Charlton-Norwich thing from about 10 plus years ago? At the Valley on the last day of the season, when Norwich needed to like win by a load of goals to stay up. It was a mad one, that one, watching that back. We lost 1-0 to the champions on that day, so we held them for a decent amount of time, but no. Watching that game back on the ITV highlights as a kid, and I watched the clips back on YouTube as well as growing older. You know, that was one of my funniest moments from watching back on that Charlton-Norwich match. If you're going down, stand up, the whole ground standing up. Rovers fans, Crewe fans, let's get that going. Let's make this entertaining. If the football's not entertaining, let's make it entertaining as fans, because we can do it. Just need that spirit and that funny side of life that we know we've got. Many people predict, though, this to be a 0-0 draw. I think if we do some of the forward stuff from the first half against Wycombe and keep that going for 90 minutes instead of sitting back for a clean sheet or sitting back for a 0-0 draw in the second half or whatever, then we can do it. We can. But if we lose this game or draw this game, we deserve to go down anyway. And so do Crew. You know, Crew haven't really gone on a great run of form. David Artell's trying to fight to be manager next season and try and recreate that League 2 promotion campaign from a couple of years ago. So, you know, Crew fans, if you want David Artell as manager next season, comment down below. Donny fans, who do you want as manager next season? Are you one of the people that's Gary McSheffrey in next season? Give him a full season. I'm still I'm now 50-50 on whether I want Gary McSheffrey as manager or not. Have I seen enough to suggest that he needs the job full-time next season? I don't know yet. I'm on the fence now. I was Gary McSheffrey in, but now I'm on the fence. Sort of torn 50-50, whether it's a full refresh we need or just a football structure behind the scenes change. If you want Gareth McSheffrey out completely, who do you want in as manager? Realistically, I'm not going to come out and say Lampard and Rafa. I'm not one of those people. Look at realistic options. Look at the people that are out there right now that could take this. Well, who would take this job, to be honest? But you get what I mean. Like, if you've got any options, comment down below. If you want a sporting director at the club next summer, and you have some examples of who you want it to be, comment down below as well. But there we are, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I am the CHALL, your Doncaster Rovers fan. Goodbye.
Super Chelsea, Super Chelsea, Super Chelsea, Super Chelsea, Super Chelsea.
For to top it!